Hang on if you want to find out what's happening this week. There are massive changes happening in the world that are going to affect you and your health, your stress, and in your body. So come on in, hang on, and when you're coming in, I'd like you to put down right here for Astro Monday your sun, your moon, and your rising if you have it. If you have the degree, put that in there. We're welcoming our sunset Serious Joy, Christopher Witecki. It feels like I've been so long. I haven't been back. I haven't talked to you guys in a while. I'm looking forward to talking to everybody. So put down in the comments there your sun, your moon, and your rising. And we're going to see where we get to today. 0602. Hello, Gemini. Hello, Leo. Painting Marguerite. Leo, Cancer, Aries. Yes. Cancer, Moon, Sag, Rising, Scorpio. Whoa. Pisces, Moon, Virgo, Rising. 11/11/1996. Whoa, November 11th. Christopher Witecki, and he's there. Hey, Chris.
Hey, buddy, we are driving. I'm about to go to a park here in a minute. I'm in Palm Springs.
Oh, how's Palm Springs?
I love it here.
Hot.
I love it. It is hot, yeah, but Texas was hot too. So I got used to that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm liking the energy because it's California, but it's not California. It's not what California's become.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the coast of California become gnarly.
Yeah.
But this feels like literally an oasis in the desert where I get my California without my cray cray. So I'm gonna pull into a park here. I got kicked out of an Airbnb. I was squatting on to do the live, and the maid showed up. I'm like, no. So I was planning on because they want you to check out really early on Airbnbs. It's like 10 a.m. I'm like, they can learn some lessons from Marriott. We'll just put it that way. How are you feeling? Like the energy, like President Trump assassination attempt.
Yeah.
Mars conjoining Uranus today, which is what I said there would be an emotional tidal wave this week, and boy did I didn't think it would be that, but it was pretty intense. The country is pretty tense. Where are you right now?
Cartagena, Colombia.
Ooh, how is it down there?
People are happy. The energy is very, very different. I mean, it's still really, really. There's a lot. It's really poor. It's 4,000 pesos to a dollar.
Whoa! Wow!
Yeah, so things are in the millions of dollars.
Wow! Wow! Yeah, I guess so. Millions of pesos.
Millions of
Interest.
pesos.
Yeah.
But it's been really good. We're like getting sun, getting. It seems like accelerating the health part of our journey.
Mm.
Things have been changing. Like every day, face is changing every single day.
Yeah, you do look different.
Yeah.
You're starting to look Colombian. You certainly got some good color in your cheeks.
Yeah.
And you,
I mean, I color, but it just this is a lot of shifts. This last week here was really, really fundamental. Yeah, I mean, you called it. There's a lot of distraction this last week, a lot of emotions, and a lot of weird stuff coming through yesterday, like interdimensional stuff, which is a 22-day. I would expect it.
yeah, I mean, the sun went to 22, and the assassination attempt on Trump was a few minutes later.
Yeah.
So it was right when it hit 22, which is I found to be very interesting. And Mars is at 22 at the same moment.
So
So
how
it was
many snipers from how many snipers do you know that are professionally hired that
right.
missed their target?
I know. There's something, but there's speculation. So what's your speculation? That Trump did it? That Trump was crazy
I'm
enough to have a
saying
bullet graze
I'm
his
just
head?
saying there's a great energy around somebody who's down and out, who's fighting. And also, I don't know if you ever thought about this way, but you know, when the guy's covering you, if you're shooting a bullet at somebody, it goes through 10 people. It's
Right.
not like a guy covering you doesn't stop it.
Right. Yeah.
And
No. I mean, it's the whole thing is fishy. I just don't know to what degree. I don't know if the degree is, a warning shot, because nothing else has taken him
it's
down. I
just
find it hard to believe that he would stage a
I
bullet
just
by
think
his
that the
head.
entire political scene is just so
Theater,
obviously stupid
theater.
that
Yeah.
that that like if I wanted to wake people up and they weren't listening, I would do things that were so stupid.
Oh, well, that's a whole nother. I do believe that ascension is the agenda,
Yeah,
100%.
yeah,
I do believe ascension is the agenda.
yeah,
And I do believe that Trump is clued into that. I do believe that. I don't think he's
sure,
clueless. I don't think
absolutely.
he's clueless at all. I think he knows
No,
exactly what he's
I
doing.
mean, I think it's all coordinated. I don't even see a left or right. I don't see
Right.
Republicans and Democrats. I mean,
Yeah.
I never have. I mean, I come from the back world of protecting secrets for people
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
There is no difference between them. The only difference is for us to fight over. So people who still thinks that there's two parties. I mean, there's two parties, but there's one boss.
Right. And that boss is big corporate money,
Yeah,
and also select families. It's the select wealth is actually what's pulling those strings.
yeah, absolutely.
But I think that we're at the end of that era with Pluto coming back into Capricorn.
Yeah, that's
Um,
what I think. I think that's what's going to come up here. You know, like the September to December is the overreach power, but then February through to like April is when things get sticky. It's when people react to it and tempers get out of control and things like that happen.
well, the last time that happened,
Yeah,
it was a civil war.
Civil War. Yeah,
Was and we're talking about when Saturn and Neptune conjoined in Aries.
yeah,
So
yeah. And
When Saturn and Aries go into the house, the energy of war, Aries, Saturn and Neptune go into energy of war. It's a war based on morals, like slavery was, Neptune, and it's a war based on absolute control, which is Saturn and
yeah,
Aries. So technically, we go to war next March
yeah,
ish,
yeah,
and I think for light workers, by the way, that is your launch. The war is your business. Like,
yeah, yeah.
unfortunately, we're here to eliminate the war.
I really see it as this is a war of perception. I don't think it's bullets or bombs. It's a perception, and and people are, it's going to be. This is Earth 2, Earth 3. It's people that want to be in that war are going to be in the war. People who don't give a crap aren't. And like I'm seeing less and less friction in my life every day, and I'm seeing more and more friction around with people around me.
Mm. I'm only hanging out with my team, so the friction is wonderful because it's banter and it's debate and it's fun stuff. I'm noticing everyone irritable today. Like I'm looking at houses here just to see what it would be like to live here, and
Hey,
um, and
we
all
got
the agents.
Patty Stranger, welcome. Millionaire matchmaker.
Oh,
Thank you for joining.
oh, oh, really? That's
Yeah,
cool.
Patty's
Hi,
a
Patty.
nine degree Gemini, 26
I know Patty's
Sag
chart
Moon.
well. I know Patty's chart
Yeah.
well.
Hi,
Hi,
Patty.
Patty.
How you doing?
How's the show going? I was curious about the ratings. I was curious how it was playing because she's got a new show on Warner Brothers, I think, on WB, where you don't have to be a millionaire to be match made. So we're giving you some free press here, Patty, because we love you. But yeah,
So,
everyone go
so
watch
the
your show.
let's talk about it. I mean, last week you pretty much um,
Let's have an
uh,
orgy. Oh my God,
yeah.
she
Okay.
is a stanger. She is a stanger. Look at that stanger coming out
That's
right there. That's
that's the 18-degree
that's
Gemini
a
ascendant.
9 Gemini.
Yeah,
Oh
then
yeah, yeah.
9 and the 18 ascendant.
She's not all about the nines too.
Yeah.
Like she's like rapid fire thought. It's like a machine gun. Thought
Yeah.
talk. Yeah, it's really
So
fire.
so you called it right last week. I mean last week you said that there was going to be shake up. Yeah, we got that. So
Yeah,
let's talk about what's going to
I
happen
took
this
a
week.
shot at Trump.
Yeah.
Come on, I get credit. No. So actually, it's pretty powerful. So what's going to happen is the thing is that what really makes people move? Their feelings have to change, right? Like because once your feelings change, it's hard to live in that emotion. It's hard to live in that discomfort. It's usually what fuels most fights is emotions behind the ideas. So this week is an emotional tidal wave, and that's what I call this week. The week's title is Emotional Tidal Wave Changes History. I'm so proud I nailed that. But basically what happens is it started at step 22, which is basically was our feathers got ruffled about how we feel about the future. And that was the Trump incident here in the United States. But I think everyone had their own, some where their feelings got ruffled. And it's just like where you suddenly were uncertain where to sort of sit, where do I sit in the room? Where do I sit in the country? Where do I sit with this? So forcing everyone up, that's the first thing. Today, Mars and Uranus conjoin at 26 degrees Taurus. Now that's a sign of war usually, but this would be, like, for instance, this is probably some sort of an AI race war is probably going to launch. I'll predict that right now. I bet you there's going to be an AI race war between all these AI divisions. But what this Mars conjunct Uranus does is it amps up our ambition to a high degree. So we got our feathers ruffled, and we amp up our ambition to a high degree, right? Mm-hmm. Right now we're at step 23. We'll go to step 24 where we sort of accept this. 25 where we sort of pray, and then 26, which is Thursday-ish, the sun then sextiles Uranus. So the sun picks up that ambition, picks up that tidal wave, and at that point you direct your emotion, you direct your passion to a certain direction. Now, what happens in the middle of this week, which is really the big deal, is that Pluto moves back to 0 on Wednesday. So Pluto back to 0. So Pluto back to 0 is sort of like the bottom of the sea falling out, right, when you have a tidal wave. So the wave sort of does this like, kind of like, what I can see energetically is, what it does is Pluto at 0 gives people the conviction that they can do anything and get away with it. Like, it gives you this enormous false strength sense of security when Pluto's at 0. I have felt Pluto at 0 in Aquarius now 3 times. This is the 3rd time it's gone 0. So I know the vibration of it. It's personally, when it first went to 0 is when I stood up out of my coma and I was like, whoa, I can suddenly have my power back. Like, what happened? And then I saw Aquarius go calm. Aquarius is all calmed down at 0. They're all grounded lightning at that point. So the point is that we get our emotions riled up. We're ready to invest in something big. And suddenly it's no holds barred. Like, you can do anything. Like, I'm going to go ahead and cross that boundary or I'm going to go ahead and go around my normal morals. Like, it sort of gives people a free ticket to do anything as far as what feels right and secure. And what it does is Pluto at 0 says that is like pavement cracking, foundation cracking, democracy cracking. It sort of cracks. Now then from Pluto, from the cracking the foundation, then it goes to 29 Capricorn. And that's chaos. Any 29 is chaos, Gary. You're fucking chaos. But Capricorn... But like Pluto Capricorn 29 chaos is chaos over rulership, power, government. So we stay in that chaos until November 20th after the election.
Right.
All right. With a foundation cracked and a bunch of emotional people pissed off. So this is the cosmic soup I was predicting. It's like the summer of love because it's the autumn of hell, right? Like, because we go into this everyone just emotionally riled up now, Now I personally, for me, it's passion. Like, I'm getting on the road. I'm on the road right now. I'm looking at new places to build my studio. Like, so for me, I'm just like excited that the rodeo is about to start.
Right.
The greatest rodeo of Earth's lifetime, the greatest rodeo of Earth's entire lifetime. There's never been, even Atlantis was not this big of a show.
Yeah, it feels like that because that's where there's this ascension. I mean, before we blew up, this time we come through it.
Yeah. We did blow ourselves up several times. I mean, Atlantis had a few mistakes. So this all climaxes. So there's this big tidal wave that happens, and then Sunday night we have the second full moon in Capricorn at 29 degrees Capricorn, the same degree that Pluto's going to slip into. So it's a foreshadow of whatever Pluto's going to execute September 1.
Wow.
So we'll see a foreshadow, and that foreshadow might be like,
we're
you're
gonna
going
feel it
down.
on Wednesday, get a foreshadow on Sunday.
Well, we feel it on. So Wednesday to Thursday, you make some sort of emotional commitment. So everyone makes an emotional commitment, and I do think that it's people making commitments to president choices right now. It's like that sort of like I'm with you kind of commitment, or it's a divorce, because a full moon in Capricorn is a divorce. So people are going to get divorced from maybe a political party, or they're going to get divorced from a candidate, or they're going to get divorced from, they're going to leave the union, or people are going to leave business kind of situations, which is rare. I mean, it takes getting really emotional and your feelings changes for you to change career or office, or you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But it's also because we had a 1 degree full moon in Capricorn, we have a 29-degree full moon in Capricorn. Essentially, God is neutering Capricorn right now, and getting it like prepared for another, something else. So we're this is a surgical removal of a power system from 1 to 29 Capricorn. That's a power structure. That's like an Enron reboot kind of thing. Like, boom.
So Capricorns now are becoming the salespeople in today's world. The Capricorns are. Would that mean that the Capricorn energy is going to somehow become the expression of something, of promoting something rather than controlling something?
I I think so. Yeah, I think it's a good assessment. I mean, they're getting into light work because Pluto's in their second house. So Capricorn's going to reinvent their income streams for the next 24 years. They're going to completely reinvent their income streams. My personal bet is, they're going into the light work business. The light work business won't allow you to be greedy. So I think, the fact that we're the only business out there is maybe what shapes them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, sorry, Cap, we don't do that. We share profit. It's not, we have committees, whatever. So, but actually, I know a lot of Capricorns who are already ahead of the game, and are
Yeah, I
already
mean,
part of
I'm
the new
seeing
power
that.
structures.
I'm seeing that.
Yeah,
But I
some
also
are,
feel
and then
the Capricorn, even in me, it's like I got a Capricorn heaven, I got a Capricorn moon, and I've got Capricorn in my chart there, and I feel that part of me changing. Like, in other words, the way I could say it is there's not a need for control anymore. Like, I've always felt I never felt safe unless I controlled all the variables my whole life. And then
mm,
recently I haven't, it's like I control no variables and I don't give a shit.
yeah, that's just a new way of control. Let my solar comes to Capricorn call your bluff. You're just controlling it through God now. It's a
Yeah.
wider band. I mean, and that's how the yogis control.
Yeah.
I mean, I think what you're describing is like basically East versus West.
Yeah.
West control is like this, like I got your hands around your neck. East control is like this, like it will come to me what is meant for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's cool. I have a solar eclipse in Capricorn. For me, the change there is I no longer want to slave in the factory. Like I've spent my whole life slaving in my own factory under my own brutal leadership.
Yeah.
And that's where I've been a bastard Capricornist to myself. I have made myself work. People cannot even imagine my hours of work and my lack of fun in my life to pull off what I've done. But I also knew I was either going to exploit myself or you have to exploit something. Unfortunately, either exploit someone's investment or it has to come. The energy has to come from somewhere. And for me, I drummed it out of myself.
So we have all these, what I've been noticing is like certain behaviors of people. Like we were talking about a couple weeks ago when I was in Sweden. And by the way, we were just shooting videos on island. We had zero internet, zero communication for 4 days. Super
Whoa!
interesting,
Wow!
yeah, like it was like that's the first time in a long time that I've been out. But but when we were in Sweden just before that, we were talking about how the Chirons were affecting people by each sign. And so what's been driving me is I've been seeing a lot of karmic action, and I've been seeing people express themselves through what I perceive as their karma.
Yep.
And I was wondering how like Saturn plays a role on each one of the signs.
Okay. So you mean when Saturn is in the sign,
Yeah,
or
yeah. When
what role
Saturn's in,
Saturn, or what is it playing today for the
yeah, like
signs?
no, like when Saturn's in that sign, like somebody who has
Okay.
Saturn in Aries.
So Saturn is eight, the
Yeah,
number eight, and eight is actually you take a zero and you twist it and get two zeros out of it. That's the control of eight. Like eight twists things and wires things together like two business partners. Eight is always wiring things together or unwiring things, right?
right.
And so Saturn is like a buzzsaw. When it comes through, the first passing of a sign, the first thing it does is cut away what's immature, cuts off, basically gives you a life tree trim, right? So
Right.
because Saturn is a once every 30 years thing. So by the time Saturn comes back to a spot, it's overgrown. You've lost touch with how to control it. You're inefficient. You're fat in that area. So it's always wherever Saturn is where the client is currently immature because it forces you to grow up. It's the part of you that's growing up right now,
Right.
right? So when Saturn goes into signs, it allows you to take power. It allows you to make decisions. You suddenly feel strong in that area and capable in that area. So if you were feeling weak and you know, lazy, uninspired, when Saturn hits there, it's like nagging at you, like, you're going to do it, 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 come on, you're going to do it. Like Saturn's just like, and it comes in the form of like, your dad, your client, are you going to do it? Your wife, like, it's just like, shit. Everyone suddenly, it feels like the world suddenly wanting all this stuff out of you. But if you know the Saturn, it's like, yes, the Matrix does want you to grow up here, and the entire cast is going to do it for us. You know, like, so your cast of characters in your life are going to suddenly, where they used to tolerate, now they're irritated. You know what I mean? It's like that's Saturn. Saturn is also giving them a backbone to say, cut it out. And that's what Saturn says, cut it out. There's a lot of cutting stuff out. So Saturn cuts out. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
So Saturn cuts stuff out. Then Saturn retrogrades and you reevaluate, like, okay, well, what do we want to regrow? And then Saturn goes direct again. It's like, okay, let's grow all this stuff. Let's make all these decisions. So the Saturn transit is this: cut out what doesn't work, reevaluate, put up a new frame, put up a new structure is what happens. And that could be a business structure, a marriage structure, a family structure, any kind of structure. Saturn builds structures through all these decisions, you know, basically joints, basically. These decisions are joints. And ironically, Capricorn rules joints in the body.
Yes. So what?
Yeah.
So what would be like? So my Saturn is 18 degrees Aries, so Grandmaster Aries.
Right on my Chiron,
Yeah,
bastard.
right on your
Uh,
Chiron.
so that would mean that you are an operations expert. So 18 is like operations. So where your natal Saturn is where your soul is badass. That's where you're badass. That's where you can no problem just take control. And you see like housewives have it like Saturn in the fifth with kids. They're just badass with the kids, or they're badass, you know. So you don't have to have a job to be badass. You still have a badass in you, you know. But Saturn Aries would mean, because it's a Grandmaster degree of Aries, it means that you are one of the world's biggest badasses. You know what I mean? Like in the world scheme, you know, you're one of the badasses on the planet right now. Someone who is very competent to decide, and know what the heart wants, and just make a decision and act on that decision right away. So that's what you and I have very much in
Right.
common. We were like, hey, we're going to do this, and we're like, and we do it. You know what I mean? Like,
And that's because
other people
it's
talk
in
about
your
it, talk about.
Chiron. It's almost for you. It's like an obsession to do it, and for me, it's just something that I do.
Correct. You do naturally.
Yeah.
My Saturn is at 19 Gemini, so I can manifest verbal content in any way, shape, or form.
That makes
Any way,
sense.
shape,
So
or
if your
form.
Saturn's in Gemini, you can manifest verbal content, and also
Intellectual
probably
property.
really good at thinking both
Oh,
sides.
yeah. Think exactly. Communicating, expert in communication, information flow, you know, message receiver analysis. So making sure the message gets into their head, that it's understood and acknowledged, that there's a feedback loop, all of that. And then, of course, you know, building a giant database and all the information services of Serious Joy, like that's all information, magic of information that I'm playing with there,
So,
which actually grand trines into my Uranus and my Jupiter.
so what would be Saturn in like Libra, for example?
Saturn in Libra is like often a diplomat, someone who is like a professional relationship person. It could even be Heidi Fleiss, you know what I mean? Like, um, because it's like someone who like, you know, looks at relationships from a professional perspective, marriage counselors, definitely the bossy one in the relationship. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think I want to be with someone Saturn in Libra. Sorry, ladies. I just don't like being bossed around. Unless our Saturn's trying, then maybe we could do it. I think, and they're often, one thing about Saturn and Libra is that they tend to they are in power because of their relationships. So they're the people who have the pocketbook of phone numbers. They got a guy they can always call. You know, it's like their network of relationships is their power. Saturn and Libra.
So what about Saturn in Scorpio?
Saturn in Scorpio is kind of a badass. Also, these are people who usually have to make life or death decisions, or or putting themselves in some sort of life or death authority, from jail warden to paramedic to hospital, someone controlling security in a hospital. They're a person who understands where the line needs to be drawn, and they can enforce it, and they can create rules around it. So they tend to be the rule makers. Ironically too, anyone who has Saturn feels like they have the right to break the rules there. So you feel like you have to break the rules in operations. I can break the rules in verbal. Libra can break the rules and cheat. Saturn and Libra. Saturn and Scorpio can break the rules and cheat also, because they know how to get away with it. They're an authority of this. So Saturn also represents kind of where you can go to the dark side a little bit and abuse your power
Right.
and your authority, right? So Saturn and Scorpio usually, this generation of Saturn and Scorpio, because it's every 30 years you have that generation. They're really important right now because we need to rewrite the rules. And so
Right.
Saturn and Scorpio people don't realize, it's like when you go around and say, it should be this, you're putting out a wave. And when you say it should be, it's all of us are bobbing up in the water, not necessarily able to respond to that. Like, so you're meant to make waves about where the lines are needs to be drawn, because humanity is retarded at it.
So what
Pardon.
about
I'm sorry about retarded. I don't mean to say
yeah,
that. It's not cool to say that.
not
That's
yeah,
my
yeah, yeah,
junior.
yeah,
That's
not
my
PC
junior high.
anymore.
I'm hanging out with my junior high buddy. It was cool when we were growing up. It was cool.
So
But yeah,
what about Saturn in Sagittarius?
Saturn and Sag are your professors, your lawyers, your people who are authorities of knowledge. They speak like 10 languages. They've traveled to almost every country. They sleep with the natives. I mean, like they definitely they're fascinating. I would love Saturn and Sagittarius person. They're very, wherever there's Saturn, people are tend to be a little closed though. Like, like it's like you, if I tell you, hey Gary, here's how you should run your company. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're a little close to hearing that sort of advice. So although Saturn and Sagittarius are fascinating, I don't know if I've ever gotten a word in edgewise or like shifted their opinion on anything, like, because they are going to be the final, Supreme Court judge on what is knowledge and what is not. And if you ask them what they believe, they don't fucking know. They're on this quest always to find their truth, and it's always a moving target. So they're paradoxical in the sense that they claim they know nothing, but then if you tell them something, they'll tell you how they know better.
Now,
Right?
what about Capricorn and Saturn, or basically in its own sign?
That is a very powerful position for Capricorn. That's the most powerful position for Saturn. Those are absolutes. Those people are kind of a paradox too, because they can yield power really strongly, and they can really control things and make decisions, like CEOs and heads of big corporations or government. That you find these kind of people up in government, but they don't change very easily. So when they're wrong, they're incredibly wrong, right? Like, because they're not designed to really change, they're designed to control. So when you have Saturn and Capricorn like that, whenever you have a planet its home sign, the planet is supercharged, but people usually overbuilding, going too far with that extra energy, not keeping it in moderation. And usually people will paint themselves into a corner, that their own brilliance, they can't get around their own brilliance of that, where they've got painted into a corner. And a lot of times it has to be a complete reboot, lose everything, and come back, because they just could not be flexible in the structure they built. But Saturn and Capricorn, if it's somebody else's structure, brilliant. I mean, these are like spiders that can crawl up corporate ladders and handle, and they're very good. What's amazing at Saturn and Capricorn? They're very good at actually getting away with paying nothing and doing nothing. It's amazing. I have a friend. I'm like, he came to me and somehow I owed him money, and he was selling. It was like somehow he taken from as his amazing deal. He like brought two people together and made money off of us coming together in the middle, and never himself doing anything but bring us together. And I was like, that was a very clever, like just poof, making money out of two friends, like out of nowhere. It was a need, but I was also like, wow, that's making money out of nowhere. That's incredible.
So what about Saturn and Aquarius?
Mm. These are your wizards. I think Saturn Aquarius people are unaware of
Oh,
their
okay,
potential.
sorry. Cynthia is Saturn 27, Saturn Aquarius. She's like, yeah, I knew I was a wizard.
No, I argue you didn't.
Yeah.
I argue you did not know until just now.
Yeah.
I think Pluto. I think these people have sleeping powers. They have hibernating powers right now, and hibernating awareness. It couldn't wake up until this time, anyways. Once Pluto hit, Pluto is once Pluto breaks the iceberg at the bottom, especially at zero, then that whole Aquarius starts to open up, right? And so I think that the Saturn and Aquarius energy is very dense right now, and they actually don't have their faculties to make use of their power yet, but are beginning to. And it has to come with working with the cosmos and the energy. So when Cynthia fully awakens that power, it's at 27.
27. Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. That is basically someone who could energetically, from Reiki to
Blow up the world.
no, you have to have a lot of might behind that, but she certainly could coordinate the world's destruction. No, I think she could. I mean, I would think she could mesmerize a crowd. She could put someone into a trance and take them to another dimension. She could probably, turn water into wine if she tried hard enough. That really is a magical wand.
Hmm.
I don't know how to do all that stuff, but I know you're capable of it, and I know that she's probably played. I mean, to be that's an Atlantis memory.
Yeah.
There's no way you could have gotten that other than Atlantis. So that's a sleeping Atlantis memory, waiting to wake.
So what about Saturn and Pisces?
Saturn and Pisces are your spiritual authorities. These people have, spent lifetimes learning all the religions, trying all, probably Muhammad, Buddha, all of them. Jesus, of course, Master Jesus. And they, they're very good. It's ironic. Here's the paradox with them. They are the kindest, as far as judgment, they're probably the most compassionate judgment of all the signs. So if you have Saturn and Pisces, you're a very compassionate judge, right? You take all the feelings into consideration. But they are so uncompassionate to themselves. They use that Saturn and they beat themselves up with it, and they guilt themselves and play all sorts of stupid games because they're basically creatures of the universe, and so they're afraid God's mad at them. So they punish it before God has a chance to, Saturn and Pisces.
Right.
And so I'm always telling them, be nice, just make it harder. But, these are your moral authorities. So you would want Saturn and Pisces, like running Boy Scouts, like putting them in moral authority positions where kids are being protected, Saturn and Pisces. That's where you'd want to put Saturn and Pisces, where they're going to somehow look out for people who otherwise wouldn't be looked out for.
So if you had Saturn in Taurus, does that mean that you like literally manifest stuff?
Yeah, your coordinators of Saturn and Taurus is that you have kind of a magic wand, like a material magician, that you can produce goods and services, create a business, manifest the farm, go on the hunt and bring back a big kill, in the old days. Like Saturn and Taurus is that you're a producer. You make things happen. You probably ran the general store in the old West, or instead of panning for gold, sold to the gold miners, the supplies, that sort of smarter, like being the business, the B2B kind of like person
Right.
that's thinking on a bigger level of supply and demand. You find them often in like merchandising and doing, they do sales orders for, stores, or they do the purchasing for stores. A lot of times you'll see stuff like that, or you'll see it's like the little wife, and she does all the books, and he don't touch the books because he don't know how much money we got. She does. And so you see a lot of like Saturn Taurus women like take over the family income and stuff because she's married to someone who doesn't get it.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then we've got Gemini, which you said is you, which you can make communication and copy and words come out.
Totally. Information technology. So we're a big IT. We're, trading of information and communication, intellect. I feel like I have the right to invent words, and I do all the time. So that's my Saturn in Gemini, like meerage and things like that. So I feel like I have the right to expand vocabulary at will and just put it out
So what about
there and make it a thing.
so what about Saturn in Cancer?
Saturn in Cancer is an emotional authority. That's another one like Pisces. When Saturn goes in the water signs, it's not, Saturn is the opposite of Cancer, right? So this is where Saturn is its weakest, is in its detriment, we say, in its opposite sign. Um, and that's because emotions are always usurping the decision, right? So you make it, Saturn's a decision, but then your feelings start to go, well, what about this? And what about that? So Saturn and Cancer are kind of wishy-washy with themselves, very poor in my experience in making good decisions for themselves. But on the flip hand, great mothers, great fathers, great nurses, great doctors, great caretakers, professional caretakers, who think about everything from the pillow to the mint to there's a toothbrush by your side. Like they've thought of everything to make sure you're cared for, and they have no problems being the authority with children. They'll be the ones that walk up in the store like, "Where's your mommy?" They're that one. You're like, "Where you should be near your mommy," kind of stuff. They sort of parent the world,
Yeah.
and people tend to gravitate to them too. Naturally, their energy is like very helpful and juicy kind of. So they're like the one you feel safe asking because again, that Saturn sword is very dulled in Cancer, so they're not very they're not harsh. They're kind of squishy. So it's not good. They're not super good at like being in positions of leadership. Oh, they can be if they can make the hard call and discipline their own feelings.
Right.
But if their feelings are involved and they're codependent, that's the other thing. They can become codependent easy, where their happiness is relied on caring for other people's happiness, and so they get caught up. They lose their power by not just being there for themselves first. So that's Saturn and Cancer.
What about Saturn and Leo?
Saturn and Leo is very, very interesting. These are in some cases these are like Elizabeth Taylors who've like had 5 husbands because love is like a business for them. You know what I mean?
Elizabeth Taylor gets up in the morning and says, "Oh, I feel like a new man."
Pretty much, yeah, pretty much. And she did, and she got whatever she wanted, and she kept all the diamonds. But Saturn and Leo, a lot of times Saturn and Leo is a creative executive. So someone who is like producing music, producing film, producing animations, artists themselves. Sometimes they're like gallery owners and they're in the business of selling other people's art. Sometimes they are themselves actors and actresses and they're just extremely like B. Arthur. Like Saturn and Leo is like a B. Arthur, like flamboyant but very stiff and, proper. Like there's like a mod in there, with Saturn and Leo. They're hard in love. Like Saturn and Leo won't be with me. Watch now, Will. No one's gonna boss my Saturn. Like my Leo, right? My Leo wants freedom. I don't want anyone telling me where to stop the fun. And that's the thing about Saturn and Leo. They tell you when to stop the fun. Now, stopping the fun is important if you're spending $100,000 a day on a set. You know what I mean? Like so, but in a relationship, it's like we've got to go. Aww, like I don't want that wife. Where I'm like, please, honey, can we go? 5 more minutes. That's Saturn and Leo. So,
And then, of
but
course,
really,
we got Saturn and Virgo. I can only imagine.
Oh yeah. So Saturn and Virgo. These are professional caretakers. I mean, these are interesting because what Virgo gives you is like hyper awareness. Okay. So Saturn and Virgo can make someone who like can make jewelry, like the intricacies of making jewelry and chiseling jewelry, like the fine, like under a microscope kind of thing, or so they have the ability to like zoom in on the detail with like, incredible precision, Saturn and Virgo. So they can do really like analysis, cost comparison, kind of spreadsheets, or going in and doing plastic surgery as a surgeon, like where it's really nano and really precise and really, life or death with just one little cut, or they're very like I don't really enjoy being under that sort of criticism. I can only take it so much because it shuts me down so much. But this is a person who would be able to rake a crime scene and find the fingerprint. This is a person who would be able to find where the embezzlement money is. This is a person who would trace the corporations through Panama. Like just have the ability. Like they have a very like nose detective brilliance about managing information and data and coming to the conclusions of that data. And God forbid if it's your wife, she's like, where were you on Monday at 2:45? And then I texted you and you said this, and then this is like, whoa, like you're not keeping up with her argument. Like it is just like she's got it all filed and categorized and put everywhere in places. Because what happens is with the Virgos is once they organize their information, they lightning flash access
Hmm.
is what it is, and so they just out compute you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. So that, and, the reason why I asked that is that I'm starting to see a lot more people that, like, I, as I've been going longer and longer in talking with people and working with astrology, I'm starting to notice the idiosyncrasies of placements in each sign. And, of course, the sun sign is one. The moon really tells me how they're going to react to a lot of things, or how their body's going to react, especially.
Mm,
But
hmm.
Saturn is one, Pluto is one, and Chiron. Those ones seem to really give a lot of rich information about how things are going to go down when things go down.
Absolutely, and the other aspect. I mean, when I do a chart, it's pretty much Sun, Moon, Saturn, Pluto, just like you said, Chiron. I mean, I
Yeah.
hit those hot spots first because you get such a they create there's such broad strokes in the soul, such broad strokes.
Hmm.
And they represent generations. So, Saturn in a sign is about 2.5, 3 year generation. So it's sort of like half a high school is one Saturn, half a high school is the other Saturn. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
and so I remember moving as a kid, and everywhere I went, they were like, the teachers were like, "Y'all are a good generation. We're enjoying teaching your generation." I was like, "Huh." Everywhere I go, they say I'm a good generation. I think it's because I was Saturn and Gemini, my generation, and
Yeah.
we just absorbed the information from the teachers like crazy and processed it, and we're very intellectual, our generation. So we were communicative, intellectual. The essays were always really sharp. The teachers always sort of lit up when I came to the school systems because it was a refreshing, for them, I think.
So people are going through this change right now. Like there's this really intense energy. Um,
Mm-hmm.
there seems to be, we've been talking about Earth 2 and Earth 3 for a while. It, it seems like I can see it. If it seems like I can see the people that are constantly having issues. Everything's a fight, everything's a problem, and I can see other people that there's stuff happening around them, but they're not really in it.
Yeah, yeah. I think we've made we've made a we've broken away. Like Houston, we've broken away. Bloop. It's like the two timelines are definitely separate, and and like vinegar and oil mixed together, right? So, and I'm saying the same thing. I'm living in a jolly bubble right now. I'm in a jolly bubble with rainbow shoes. Like I'm having a good, and I am seeing people, like I said, like the maids that showed up at the door to kick me out of the Airbnb, they were not happy, and this was a big deal to them. I was just like,
Yeah.
it's like I overpaid for this place, like, but so it's just seeing people so upset about tiny things, and of course I could not be more annoying. I'm like, hi, sorry I'm late. I'm just on a live. I'll be right off. Like, you can start in the bathroom. So yeah, I'm seeing that division. I think people, and now through, I mean, as far as how long is that people gonna start to split? I would say till Pluto goes back to zero in Aquarius. So we all sort of split off in our, on our way, on our path, on our journey, and I don't think we intermingle with each other till the war.
Right.
I don't even think it's a war. I think it's a race. I actually think it's a race. I think it's a race to be most influential. Is what this is.
It
It's not. It's
it
not
it, it
really a war.
feels like that. It also feels like that, but it also feels like there's this energy pushing behind people. Like we're definitely being pushed behind. We haven't even turned on our guns yet, and our platforms are all growing like incredibly. Like we've had some of the most engagement, most reach that we've ever had, and we're not even at this point. We're not trying it, and
Yeah, yeah.
and so it feels like there's a wind behind us.
There is. There's a win. I mean, there's a. I'm here in. I'm here in Palm Springs, but just like everything I tried to book just like fell into place. Like everyone was available friends showed up. They have the time. Like everything's just like it really a coordinated
Yeah.
dance is sort of like what's happening. Is we just show up and we just sort of do it, and then we just show up and do this, and then that's what it feels like. I'm just like in this kind of beautiful dance with the universe right now, and I think that's on the path to 5D. I really feel like I've having moments of 5D too. I feel that's the distinction I'm trying to make too. Is like I don't know if you felt it yet
Yeah,
yourself.
I have. It's
I felt
like
it at
all this
Unite the
magic
Light.
happening, and you
Yeah.
can't explain it. It's like yeah, I mean everything from like we're locked out of an account and we're just talking randomly about somebody. They call and they say, "Hey, I have a solution." Like that kind
Yes.
of
Yes.
synchronicity.
Yes. Totally. 100% synchronicity. And I think that's part of 5D. I think that this higher way of being, so what is 5D? It's a higher way of being, more connected to what we call reality. You're in more concert with reality. You're playing the long game with reality, not the short game. Everything's happening in the short, but you're expecting things in the long, if that makes sense. So you
Hmm.
have this sort of like this setback sort of posture. And and the 5D moments for me are just laughing like a kid, getting my just laughing like until I can't stop laughing, like moments just enjoying my time with people instead of like being somewhere else. When I was used to be with people, I would have a hard time being with them. I'd be on my phone. I would not be engaging as much. And now I just feel like I feel like I can touch people. I'm not worried about space. Like I feel close to people tactily now. I'm wanting hugs more, like than I ever have, less defensive. Yeah. And I'm holding in the hugs, like I'm feeling them. Whereas before I'd be like, kind of pat you and let you
Yeah.
go. So I'm just feeling a richness of life coming online for me. Yeah.
So, um, superpowers.
Mm,
There is obviously something happening. I don't know exactly how to explain it. People that come in contact with us, either they're super ready, or there's something super different with us. Like, we've been through the last 2 months as like just one big event. We've put our hands on thousands and thousands and thousands of people, but
yeah.
the effects seem to be quicker. What used to take an hour and then took 30 minutes and then took 15 minutes is now taking like 30 seconds.
Wow. I'd say it's a combination of everything. One, your powers, becoming refined and perfected.
Hmm.
Two, the planets are readying this. The planets are is the winds that you feel are the planets, in my opinion. Saturn and Pisces
Right.
is a real clean up the karma, clean up your act. So face all your karma. Saturn and Pisces is take responsibility for all your karma.
Hmm.
So everyone has the backbone to get in that line and wait. You know what I mean? And wait for you to put their hands on them. And then I think they're also ready to surrender their power in that moment, not for life, because your program is all about take your power back. But in that moment, I think they're really open to being helped, whereas
Hmm.
before they may not have been open. So I think it's all those three things. I imagine though. I mean, they say the healers in India, the gurus in India, it was pretty much
Yeah,
just
yeah,
it was
just a
either
touch. Yeah,
it was either a
I think
touch.
that's because what I'm experiencing is it's frequency. It's resonant frequency. We look at all these diseases and these illnesses as being a biological issue, but the biology, everything that I see is biology responds to frequency. Frequency tells the biology. Biology has a response path. And when the frequency's changed or adapted, or if it adheres or if it's coherent with another frequency that's higher, then it just changes right away.
Yes, absolutely. It falls under the spell of that higher frequency.
Hmm.
Um, and I know, I've read guru books where they would make them like a little elixir because there's the belief structure. There's nothing in the cup other than like flavor, but like the belief structure was once you swallow, you are healed.
Yeah, yeah,
And that's them. That's the client changing their own frequency with under the guru's guidance.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where what I've been observing is that as we take care of ourselves and we take care of our own lives, our own bodies, we watch and maintain. that it gets easier and easier to help people. And what I have seen
Mm.
is I've seen people that aren't doing it and they're working harder and harder to do the same work.
Wow, that's
So
interesting.
people are not taking care of themselves, having to do more, feeling more burned out. People that are taking care of themselves are doing less and feeling better.
Yes, that makes total sense. I would think that, it turns out the only thing that was against us was
Yeah.
us. You know, like, it's like, oh, I'm the problem? Well, why didn't you say so? Okay. But it's amazing because, things are easier and easier because we were making them harder and harder. It's not that, you know what I mean? Like, life is built easy. Like, that's how God delivers it. You know what I mean? Like, there's food, there's naked ladies, there's, you know what I mean? Like, there's everything. It's a Garden of Eden. If we made it hard. We made it hard. We made it hard on ourselves, and we did it because other people made it hard on us, and we're following their guidance.
Yeah.
You know,
So let's
interesting. Yeah.
let's go through that one more time at the end of this. Let's sum it up for the week again. So tomorrow, day by day.
Okay, so today we're in step 23. So today you're going to come up with a new vision for your life. And what you're coming up for a new vision for, full circle to your topic, was how am I going to care for myself? That's really what it is. How am
Right.
I going to care for myself? We're deciding our care. And today you're envisioning your care. Step 24, Tuesday, you accept and feel it out. So tomorrow you sort of go back and forth about what you feel about it. Um, and then Wednesday, it's step 25, Pluto goes to 0. So Wednesday is a day of real spirit. It's a spiritual divine intervention. So you'll probably hear from someone you don't expect, or you'll see something on TV or something that really shifts your perspective. So there's a graceful, we have to apply our grace and our compassion to how we feel. So for instance, as an example, you may say, I want to feel fit again. I want to feel in my body and strong. I'm going to the gym every day and work out really hard. Then to Wednesday, you're like, well, maybe I should have a little mercy on myself and do it every other day. So like the little mercy comes in on Wednesday, right? Which we need. And Pluto goes to 0, which means it's like, what about a home trainer? Oh, like you suddenly open up to something you never considered before. Like, oh, I was never open to that before. So that's why Wednesday's a real question mark, because it's like spirits coming in and you're opening to things you never opened up to before, or you're willing to move the mark that was before immovable or inflexible. So
Right.
Wednesday's a real like, what's going to happen on Wednesday? Thursday is step 26, and the sun sextiles Uranus. So that means that Thursday you're ready to make the jump for what it will take for you to feel good. And what the question is, what will make me feel good the longest, right? So, I today, well, long story short, so you're basically saying what would make me feel good. Today I made a decision after this Airbnb. I'm like, that's it, hotels. I'm not dealing with picky owners who are
Right.
pissy all the time.
Yeah.
That's me literally making a decision like, okay, for my long-term care, no longer book Airbnbs because it doesn't care for me enough. You know what I mean? Like, I need more care.
Yeah.
And I do. I undercare and I need to overcare. So Thursday you make the decision, okay, I care about this. And basically the decision is I care about this. Friday it's like, well, do something then. So Friday you have to do something. You have to put it into motion. It gets into motion. Friday will be very emotional, be very intense. Because the moon is now becoming full again. So the moon is just getting larger and larger this whole week. So it's like, but because the moon's in Capricorn, it's like, I don't give a shit. Like it's kind of what it is. I really don't give a shit. Like, I really, 29-degree full moon, I really don't give a shit. And that's on Sunday. So Friday we go for it. Saturday we're like, oh, I hope I didn't do too much. I didn't go too far. So Saturday's like a real like, is this the right thing to do, honey? Should we buy the house? Like 28 Cancer. That's my lunar eclipse, which is like where I'm learning how to like, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. Like holding that space of emotion, like it's gonna come together, and just I'm gonna hug you until it does. Kind of is what 28 is. Then 29's like, let's see if this thing can be knocked over. Like, let's see if this has got legs. Like, oh, okay. So Saturday to Sunday is an emotional test, which is, are you sure? Are you sure? Because once you break that glass, the alarm goes off. Like there's some sort of glass that's going to break, and that could be the glass house you've been living in. Like it can be a lot of things. Where suddenly, like, once you can't unsee that, or your boss says something you can't unhear. So there'll be a lot of like mistakes that actually are to get you to see the truth. Like, look at this. Seriously, you're going to continue with this when the whole world's on the happy bus. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So there'll be some wake up calls for people who are just asleep
Right.
at the wheel. Um, so then and then we come back. On Monday, and it's like the sun goes into Leo, and it's like, hi, hi, meow meow. And so like it's funny because when the sun goes into Leo, everyone's just like, oh, I don't know what I was upset about. Everyone just gets like meow meow meow, licks their paws, and like we're off to Leo. And in Leo, the interesting stuff is we have Mercury and Venus in Leo right now. So right now there's a lot of energy on really everyone's naturally focused on their quality of self-love. So we really are blessed because of where Mercury and Venus, are ahead of the sun. Because
Hmm.
with Mercury and Venus being ahead of the sun at this time, it means that while we explore care, we're in touch with our inner child the whole time. So,
Right.
by the nature of things, it goes care, then Leo. And that's also because the heart won't open if you're not well cared for. The
Hmm.
heart won't open. The heart pulls back as a self defense protection thing.
And
So
then
you have to
then
feel
it's
good to be happy. Yeah.
and then Monday, when we meet again, it's Grandmaster Leo.
Yeah.
Love with my heart.
Okay. Yeah. Step one. Yeah, I have to look at like because the Earth's moving fast right now. It's like less than one step a day.
Yeah.
It's like a step in 23 hours, and so or it's longer actually. It's longer. So, anyways, the step number is moving down the
Yeah.
clock right now.
Yeah. I catch that. It's moving through the day.
Yeah, we
Yeah, it's
do
been
too.
it's been interesting because the last couple of days, actually not having access to the internet, really made because I mean we have been plugged in constantly because of the tour, and we're
Yeah.
down here in Cartagena. We're actually seeding South America, so we got people coming in from all different influencers and stuff like that. So it's not
Wow.
this is our reset, and it's not a big event. And then we're going back to Vancouver, and we're going Vancouver, Toronto, LA. It looks like we're going to do Minneapolis, Florida, and then we're in Australia. We're working with universities over there. They're bringing us in. I mean, it's just things are going in a crazy way. So right now, I feel that build up, and we were the whole idea of what's happening in September, and we just decide to plan. And I know that wherever we need to be, we're going to be.
Oh yeah, I mean, I feel the same, and even when I plan one way, something changes, and I'm like, oh, I guess that's not.
Yeah.
I'm really watching. I was also looking for the signs. It's really interesting. I've been into animal totems lately because I have friends who do animal totems. This woman named Bernadette King. You actually might want to talk to her sometime. I have
Yeah,
a couple
I
of
would.
people.
And we always
I
look
have a
at
couple of
animal
people.
totems too, always.
Yeah, I have a couple people you might want to interview on Human Garage Network.
Yeah, for
Just
sure.
just
Absolutely.
just be fascinating conversations between the two
We're
of you and your
actually,
viewers.
you know what? We just brought in Aaron Matthias from the old garage, and we're setting up the official podcast. Like we're going to be talking to some really big names. Like
Oh, that's great.
we're doing a donation dinner series at each location starting LA. It's for fundraising so that we can expand our reach, like
That's great.
five to $10,000 plate dinners, and then we're
Wow.
doing the full podcast. And it's like it's the full intensive podcast where we set up a location where while we're on tour, and we have people fly in.
Oh, that's great. I love it. I believe I'm with you in
Iguanas,
Canada, but
iguanas for Gary all the way. Yes, iguanas.
go
Thank
on.
you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think I'm with you guys in Canada, but I
yeah,
got to call your team back. I got to call your
yeah,
team
yeah,
back. You
yeah,
guys
yeah.
have made another
Absolutely.
change.
Yeah, super excited about that.
Yeah. No, I want to do everywhere I can with you guys. I'm
Yeah,
loving it.
yeah.
Um,
It's taking a new life. Like it's getting it's since we've seen you last. It's been the reaction of people has been very different. The crowds are bigger and more intense. So that's why we're like building our stamina because the Orange County event's going to be, a couple thousand people, and
Wow.
um, and we and we
When is
also have an
that?
influencer event. That's September 17th, and we have an influencer event where we're bringing our influencers in for 4 days and all of our media partners, kind of like we did in Austin, but someplace in Orange County. And we're bringing them together for 4 days just to shoot media, cut, podcast. We get some really big names coming for that.
That's great. I'd love to come to that.
Yeah,
I'll come down to that.
of course you're invited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Oh, it's
so
beautiful. And thank you
everybody,
for giving me my own.
anyways, Chris, I appreciate you again.
Love you too,
The
brother.
Astro Monday is all my favorite day of the week. I always
Oh,
like
I
to,
love it too.
yeah, because for me it just as the stuff rolls out for the week, I'm like, okay, that makes sense. It gives me a snapshot. It's a quick snapshot, and also very related to us and what we do. So I appreciate that.
I do too. I love it too. Wizards talking, and when you're in Australia, it'll be like Tuesday, and it'll be like Sunday here.
Well, that way I can tell you what's going to happen in the future.
Yeah, you can totally. Yeah, totally. Yeah, totally. It's gonna be exciting times. It's great seeing everyone. Hello, Hema Garage. I'll be tonight on LOL. Catch me on
Yeah,
LOL
catch
tonight
you and
on my
LOL
channel.
tonight. That's
Yeah, it'll be
funny.
fun. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, it is funny. All right, good
take
night.
care.
Bye bye.
And if you haven't done it yet, make sure that you go to our event page. We're going to be popping up, and some of them we're going to pop up. We got a couple that we're going to pop up with 48 hours notice for smaller events in different areas. But if you go to our website at humangarage.net and sign up for the events, we will update you with each and every new event. We're adding about 10 new events right now. If you are in Australia, we are coming there hard in end of October and through to November. We're going to be there for a month, working with colleges, universities. We're going to be in the 3 primary cities as well with big events and hands-on. It's going to be super exciting. So, and we will be coming back up. If you're in Washington State, we will be back up in Vancouver. Come to our event on August 17th. So, if you haven't done it yet, get your tickets. They are going to sell out. It's always the same way. We get the slow little start, then we start buying. The ticket prices are escalating as we go further because we've had to increase the size of the venues in multiple occasions. So make sure to go to humangarage.net, sign up for the tour updates. See you guys later.